Hey there, everyone. Mike Mibach with KTVU Fox 2 in the San Francisco Bay Area. Winnie Sun, once again, joining us to talk money during this pandemic. She is the managing director of Sun Group Wealth Partners. Stimulus, stimulus, stimulus. And Winnie, I got to start there because Americans are suffering and they want money because they need money. Are they going to get it soon here?
Well, you're absolutely right, Mike. I think we are closer rather than we've ever been. In fact, these discussions have been taking place since April. So we're hoping that both political parties can come together and get that deal done. We're actually looking at right now about a $908 billion COVID relief package, and it's being split. They're thinking they're going to split this up, and that way there's a better chance that this will be passed this week because we definitely know that our lawmakers plan to get a deal done before they go home for the holiday. So one of the plans is going to be $748 billion, which includes money for small business loans, jobless benefits, vaccine distribution. And the second one is supposed to be about $160 billion for state and local aid and includes some liability protections. That's the one that has the biggest sticking point. So we'll see if it gets done. But notice that, either way, they got to make a decision because December 26th, 12 million jobless Americans are going to continue to be in bad shape.
I mean, the fact that we're even debating this right now, after so many months of Americans being kind of left in the dark here without a check. What about the check? Because I think President Trump was out there this past weekend in an interview saying he thinks that these checks need to be cut, stimulus checks themselves, and put into the pockets of Americans, whether or not it's $600, $1,200, $2,000. I'm not sure, but are we guaranteed that these checks will be cut as part of the deal?
Well, unfortunately, Congress is scrambling to put together another stimulus deal that we just talked about, but unfortunately, it doesn't include currently a second economic stimulus check for individuals or families who meet those requirements. In fact, Senator Bernie Sanders, as you know, as well as Senator Josh Hawley, who was a Republican, are looking to modify this current $900 billion plan to include a second stimulus check for $1,200. But currently, the proposal doesn't include it. And in fact, Senator Sanders is saying that he actually might delay passing the bill this Friday if it's not added on. But, and you've got to note that he also said that last week. So at this point, it looks like they're just trying to get some deal done because we're even seeing that analysts are saying that even at $900 billion, this plan is not even close to what America needs to get through the pandemic. They're saying it should be 4 to 5 times bigger.
Yeah. And on the flip side, it's like that's one part of America, and then on the other side of America, you have home prices that are skyrocketing in a number of states. And I'll start out west just because we're both in California, not
Mhm.
only in the Bay Area, but there's a small city, Oxnard, right outside of Los Angeles. I saw home sales are up 12%. Average price for a home is 800 plus $1,000 in Oxnard, California. Um, why the drive here? What is driving all this?
Well, it's mostly because of inventory. There's just not a lot of inventory and also interest rates at an all-time low. So you couple those two scenarios together, and so therefore, people are looking to, when we're not doing a lot, right? You're sitting at home. What happens is retail therapy is really true right now more than anything. And a lot of for some people, especially the wealthy, that means can I buy more real estate? So what I would say this is if you're sitting on if you have a home right now and you still have a paycheck and you're sitting on a mortgage rate of in excess of 3.5%, this is what I would take that retail therapy need for. I would start shopping around because believe it or not, even if you refinance and your rates 3.5%, you could probably do better right now, which is incredible. In fact, for some of you who, if you refinanced recently, like I did, actually reach out to your bank because they actually might be able to help you do a rate reduction
Hmm.
right now without you having to do a lot of paperwork.
Oh, that's interesting. And then, I mean, whatever you say, I mean, it could be $300 payments, it could be up to five, $600. All that, that's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
Yeah. Inflation. Um, when I say that word, some people don't even know what it means. But should the average American family be concerned about inflation moving forward here?
Well, I don't know that inflation is something you should be concerned about because there's nothing you can really control. But that being said, there's been a lot of talk that we're looking at possible inflation post-pandemic here. And so there's certain things that if you feel like things will probably go increase in prices, we always like to be ahead of that. So what I would say is take a look. Like we just talked about refinancing your mortgage. If you can still do that, even if you're, sitting at a 4% mortgage, not the worst thing to have. That's a good thing because prices are going to probably increase. And so if you're sitting on a large loan with a low rate, that's definitely a win. Same thing if you're, buying a car and you get a really low interest rate, that's good. But some of the things that you might want to consider right now too is really being diversified on how you're investing and making sure that your investment portfolio can keep up for your retirement or future savings needs to keep up with inflation. The other thing you want to do is, people always talk about right now, like, should it start stocking up on things? Maybe don't go overboard, right? But if there's certain things that make sense for you, for example, we know the U.S. Postal Service do these forever stamps, which certainly can sort of mitigate shipping inflation, if you will.
Yeah. I was wondering about patterns because, I'll use myself as an example. Throughout all of this, we've been able to save some money. We're not spending as much, so we're putting a couple bucks away on the side. I wonder if that's going to continue moving forward, right? People are starting to get the vaccine, although for, the average American, it'll probably be a few more months before you can actually get it. But I wonder if people are going to start to spend more as soon as they get the vaccine. Hey, pandemic's over, let's go, and have that mentality, or if they're going to revert to what I was doing, and that's just putting a couple bucks still on the side.
Well, I think it's human nature. We've been sheltering in place for so long, and really life has been havoc for so long. I think it's natural to assume that as people get vaccine, that they're crave wanting to get back to normal. In fact, we're actually anticipating travel prices to increase. That we're probably looking at inflation there, and things are going to cost more there because the travel industry obviously needs to make up a lot of the losses that they've already lost due to the pandemic. So it's reasonable to assume that things will probably get more expensive. And not only that, is the things that you really want are going to get more expensive. So a lot of people are saying, like, when you should start planning for a vacation now because, obviously it's cheaper to book now. What I would say is if you can, there's two ways of thought. Number one, you could book something that has total flexibility so you can cancel. The other thing is to look into actually collecting points and miles right now. Some great opportunities so that by the time you get your vaccine or you feel like you can get back to normal, then you can start planning and have flexibility too.
Buy now, pay later. Speaking of spending, the credit card trend. What is this? Especially, we are less than 2 weeks away from Christmas here.
Oh my goodness, this is such a huge thing, Mike, right now. Like all these different companies, so many credit card companies from PayPal to Chase to Amex, everybody's offering this like new version of the layaway program where you can buy things and you can pay for them later. And I know Chase, for example, has this offer where you can spread it out in certain payments. They actually charge no interest to do that. What that does mean that consumers love this because they love having different options to pay, but it also means most consumers actually pay or buy 10 to 20% more when they have options like this. So I would say if you're wondering whether or not you should do this, you probably don't want to do this. But if you have to, because you have to use your credit cards to pay off something lofty that you just need, then it is something that's available and you can definitely look into it. But I would caution, make sure you're able to make those payments, because as soon as you don't make those payments, they've got penalties and fees galore.
They could just pile up. I mean, I could see that being a very dangerous thing. All right. Winnie Sun, Managing Director, Sun Group Wealth Partners. Always good to have you. Great conversation, and have a great rest of the week, Winnie.
Thank you, Mike. Take care.